And it seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
I haven't heard that term in a long time. She's a harlot.
And we did a zero in, like we zoomed in just to see. There isn't a tear in sight, Dan. Look at this.
There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s.
Wow. No, I haven't heard that one.
Oh, Meghan Markle really thought she had us all fooled. She tried pulling out the big guns. You know, fake tears and some royal name dropping, hoping we'd all melt with sympathy. But guess what? Joe Rogan wasn't buying a single second of it. Nope. He completely torched the whole act, and honestly, it was savage.
That's the big distraction.
That's the big distraction right there.
There's a war room, apparently.
Joe Rogan, he clocked it immediately. Meghan rolled out those fake emotional breakdown vibes like she was auditioning for a drama series. She gave us the sniffles, a long pause, and stared off into space like she was really feeling something. But there wasn't a single tear in sight. Nothing. No smudged mascara, no red eyes, just a calculated performance. Joe literally laughed and said, "Where's the tear?" Dead.
We did a zero in, like we zoomed in just to see. There isn't a tear in sight, Dan. Look at this. I invite the viewers to take a close-up look at this. Where's the tear? There's nothing there. Look, it's an actor's trick. She just keeps wiping and wiping and wiping, so we think she has a heart.
And then came the Jamie Kern Lima podcast. Oh boy, Meghan walked in and turned what was supposed to be this uplifting, empowering convo into a full-on cringe fest. It was like watching a parody, buzzwords flying, weird fangirling moments, and not a drop of depth. She basically turned it into a low-budget comedy show. It was awkward.
Yeah, I guess everybody falls down one side or the other. Do you support Harry and Meghan? Do you not?
And don't even get started on how many times she called Harry hot and amazing. Like 5 times in under a minute. We get it, sis. You married a prince. Joe absolutely roasted that moment. He said it sounded less like an empowering woman and more like a fan letter read out loud. Ouch. It didn't feel authentic. It felt like a cheesy ad for her own image.
Right? She's just powerful. She's
Actually, that's a good point. Harlot and temptress.
Yeah, I think harlot's up.
Comparing melons to apple.
Everything. The way she spoke, the pauses, the carefully chosen words. It all felt so scripted, like she was checking off a list. Talk about struggle? Check. Mention Harry? Check. Toss in a sniffle? Check. Brag about being a mom? Check. Joe nailed it when he said it sounded more like a pitch for a Netflix series than an actual podcast. It was so painfully curated.
Yeah, that's a whole
I take that back.
Yeah.
It's a her.
It's a her. Yeah, I don't think she's that.
No.
Which she...
And you could feel the weird energy between her and Jamie. It was stiff, overly produced, like they were reading lines off a script. There was zero chemistry, zero realness. Meghan wasn't there to connect. She was there to sell. A narrative, a brand, a whole image.
God, Meghan, she has this really famous thing where she says one tap left eye.
She wanted people to sit there and say, wow, poor Meghan's been through so much. But instead, what we got was, wow, this whole thing is just a sneaky brand ad wrapped in fake vulnerability. Joe saw straight through it. He said it loud. This wasn't empowerment. This was PR, marketing dressed up as struggle. And Meghan, just doing Meghan.
That whole fucking thing.
That thing. But yeah, the war room, I guess it makes sense. Look, these people are in under a microscope and, they got to figure out what their message.
And let's talk about the tears again, because Joe didn't need a whole investigation to figure out what was off. There were no signs of an actual cry, no streaks, no puffiness, nothing, just perfect lighting, dramatic pauses, and a sniffle or two. Where was the water, Meghan? Where were the actual tears? The internet was asking the same thing.
It's a really good thing to have as an actress. But you're completely...
Joe didn't hold back. He literally said, if you're going to cry on camera, maybe bring the tears. And then he dropped a bomb. Reminded everyone of that one clip where Meghan bragged she could cry on command from her left eye. Yup, total coincidence? Nah. Joe straight up called it what it was. Not a breakdown, a performance.
This podcast with Jamie Kern Lima was absolutely car crash. I mean, Jamie Kern Lima is actually a very successful woman, self-made billionaire. However, she is a fame whore. Because, she first found fame by appearing on the first series of Big...
And the internet? Oh, they were on fire. Memes exploded. People were comparing her to soap opera extras. Twitter was dragging her for the audition face. Joe didn't even need to drag her that hard. Fans were already doing the job. This was meant to be her emotional comeback. But it turned into yet another Meghan PR fail in disguise. Joe didn't say she flat out lied, but he made it crystal clear this girl wasn't telling the full truth either.
United States, but she had that totally scrubbed from the internet because now she believes that she's the new Oprah Winfrey. And the problem is, you realize these are the types of people Meghan Markle is surrounding herself with. And none.
Real emotions? They don't need stage lights and rehearsed pauses. Joe exposed the whole thing. The prep, the polish, the fake sniffles. And it only got worse. He brought out the big guns. Body language expert Scott Rouse. And Rouse? He confirmed everything. Meghan's performance was full of signs, tells, red flags everywhere.
Listen to the new episode today of Confessions of a Female Founder. You know, she calls everyone female founders, and I know you find that very, very ridiculous, as do I. And it's with this British woman called Hannah Mendoza, who actually...
Her posture, rigid, smile, forced, eyes, scanning for approval, not lost in emotion. Rouse said this wasn't vulnerability, it was control. Joe loved that point. Meghan says she's better than okay, yet her face looks like she's ordering a latte. You can't make this up.
Brand called Clever Blends, and Meghan invested in her company. But the podcast is meant to be Hannah Mendoza's story.
And that's the thing, that weird disconnect, everyone felt it. Meghan's words painted one story, strength, healing, struggle, but her body told a whole other tale, posturing, performing, overthinking every move. Classic case of acting, not feeling. Meghan wanted to be seen as this resilient mom, a queen in exile, someone who's overcome so much, but her body language gave her away. She wasn't being raw, she was trying so hard to be relatable, and it completely backfired. And at this point, it wasn't even a vibe check, it was confirmation. Experts were now calling it out. Meghan's little moment wasn't real, and Joe's podcast made sure nobody missed that fact. Because when even your body is lying, trust me, the audience is out. Oh, and here's where it gets even juicier. She literally mocked Hannah Mendoza, this earthy, kind of granola-type woman who came to the interview when Meghan donated money. And while Meghan claims she's so over the royal family, she signs a jar of jam with Her Royal Highness. What? Yes, that happened. On camera. In her podcast. A handwritten tag on some jam signed with a title she legally can't even use anymore. And Meghan's just casually laughing. Like, what is going on? She's out here pretending she's left all the royalty behind, then signs off like she's still on the throne. Joe Rogan? He couldn't believe it. Did Meghan forget she's not a working royal? Or was she just trolling the whole palace? And then we find out Meghan's now executive producing her own content. Joe lost it. Girl, if you don't want to be royal, stop acting royal. This wasn't cute, it wasn't quirky, it was just straight up embarrassing. And don't even get started on the whole jam aesthetic, homemade baskets, handwritten notes. She tried so hard to say, look at me, I'm just like you. But the moment she used that royal title, it all fell apart. Joe said it best. You don't quit a job and then keep showing up in the uniform. And what's worse, she surrounds herself with yes people. People who'll tell her exactly what she wants to hear. Jamie Kern-Lima gave her 90 minutes of fluff, called her a wonderful businesswoman, friend, human being, and blah, blah, blah. Online, people weren't having it. They called it desperate, delusional. Even royal experts weighed in. Meghan literally violated her palace agreement. Again, she wanted to prove she's thriving outside the monarchy, but all she proved? She's still obsessed with the thing she supposedly hates. And then, let's talk about the bath salt scandal, because you cannot make this up. It picks up steam, it's not just embarrassing, it's risky, dangerous even. Every brand Meghan's tied to, every health product she's ever endorsed, they could all come under fire. That's what happens when you go from authentic lifestyle queen to full-blown legal hazard. Because let's be honest, this isn't the first time Meghan's danced with bending the truth. Joe said it loud. This is the fallout from trying to create a brand out of your life and doing it badly. And just when we thought that was the end of it, boom. The rumors came back. Yes, the infamous yacht girl whispers. Joe brought it up. He didn't say it was confirmed, but he didn't avoid it either. He put the spotlight right on it. Those old rumors that Meghan had a sketchy early Hollywood hustle. The whispers that she attended ultra-exclusive parties on luxury yachts. That she rubbed elbows with some questionable billionaires. Even rumors that linked her, loosely, to Epstein's crowd. It's always been smoke, no fire. But the smoke never really cleared, has it? And in that Jamie Kern-Lima interview, she casually asks Meghan, will you write another book? Not, will you write your memoir? No, she says another, which is telling. Because Meghan, without blinking, says she hasn't lived enough life yet. Huh? Joe pointed it out. If none of this is true, why the weird energy every time her past comes up? Why the shutdowns, the deflections, the total avoidance? If it's false, just say it. But Meghan always dodges. There's a pattern, Joe says. She builds this perfect little victim narrative. But behind it? There's always something off-screen, always a trail of stuff she refuses to talk about. And now there's buzz about a post-divorce memoir. Yes, post-divorce. Word on the street is she's already shopping it around for a mega deal. And Joe? He's not shocked. He said this was always the plan. She's prepping for a massive payday, turning every chapter of her life into content. And let's not pretend like it's a crazy conspiracy anymore. Vanity Fair even confirmed it. Meghan is getting ready to write about life after Harry, after all the drama, and that yacht girl past, still suspiciously untouched. Joe didn't accuse her directly, but he connected dots, and that was enough for his listeners to start digging again. It's always the same story. The more Meghan tries to scrub the past clean, the louder it screams. This is the part where things start to spiral, because Joe wasn't just dragging Meghan for fun. He was reading the room. He said it plainly. America is over it. The fascination with Meghan and Harry, long gone. Now it's just exhaustion. They're tired of the drama, the victim games, the poor me narratives dressed up in designer labels. What started as a royal fairy tale turned into a reality show no one asked for. The podcast performances, cringe. The crying with no tears, fake. The jam jars signed with stolen titles, embarrassing. Meghan and Harry, they're not a couple anymore. They're a brand, and people are done buying it. Joe said it best. They wanted privacy, remember? Now they're out here hawking homemade jam and Netflix content like it's QVC. That shift from "we just want peace" to "buy our next project" is just so obvious and so tired. And here's the thing. People don't hate them. They're just sick of the lies, the contradictions. You can't say the media destroyed you while profiting off every last word. You can't bash the monarchy, then sign Jam as Her Royal Highness. The hypocrisy? It's too much. They've lost the plot. First it was about escaping the crown. Then it was about mental health. Then it was all about healing. Now, it's lifestyle goods, sponsored podcasts, and inspirational monologues that sound like Instagram captions. There's no clear message anymore, just noise, and it's loud. Joe nailed it. When your authentic brand becomes a walking contradiction, people tune out. Meghan and Harry aren't telling a story. They're trying to control the narrative, and they're losing control fast. Charles may be playing it quiet, but William? Reportedly furious. And honestly, can you blame him? The fake cries, the non-stop interviews, the subtle royal digs that always drag the palace back into drama. Rogan said it straight. If you wanted to damage the monarchy's image, you couldn't do it better than Meghan and Harry. And Meghan, she really thought this podcast was going to win hearts, that people would see her cry and feel moved. Instead, Joe Rogan lit that performance on fire, and the internet watched it burn. By the end of the episode, Joe had painted a pretty brutal picture. Meghan's emotional act, fake, her body language, scripted, her brand, falling apart. From bath salt lawsuits to royal slip-ups to shady past rumors, it's all crumbling. And if this is what Meghan calls authenticity, then the world's finally waking up. Because Rogan didn't just expose her podcast, he exposed the entire act.